I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone's lines just so that the background noise doesn't trip me up. There is a chat function in Zoom. You can stop me at any time, and you can also unmute yourself if you want to just, speak out and let me know. I will be stopping for questions, and I do have a Q&A at the end as well that we can go over. Most likely, I'll probably get to your question as we go through because I'm covering most of the platform. But just in introduction, this is the agent training. Hopefully, everyone can see my screen. If you can't, just let me know, either unmute or chat. My name is Lindsay. I am the account manager from SkySlope for Sutton. I am from California, so the Bay Area to be exact, but then I migrated up here to Sacramento, where SkySlope is located about 4 years ago. So a couple fun facts about me, but I like to say that I'm a mom to 2 kids, 5 and 7. They keep me very busy, especially with after school activities and all that. So I try to get as much as I can done during the day in my regular hours. And then, in the afternoon, I am theirs. And then I try to finish up whatever I can, maybe late at night. And I say that because I know realtors in general, you kind of work odd hours sometimes, late at night, weekends with open houses and things like that. And, I'm not available at all times. And because of that, we have always offered our 24/7 support team, because we know your hours are not normal, and we want you to get your questions answered immediately. We know how important it is to not have to wait. And so that is why we have a 24/7 support team. We have a few guarantees to let you know how, dedicated we are to your success with our platform. And that is, if you call us, we're going to pick up on the second ring. If you chat, we'll pick up we'll answer within 10 seconds. And if you email us, we'll reply within 20 minutes. If we don't hit one of those guaranteed response times, we will send you a $5 Starbucks card each and every time. So just keep that in mind. When you get stuck, don't pull your hair out. Don't spend way too long on it. Please, reach out to support, and they will walk you through it and get you moving as soon as possible. We are all located in Sacramento. We do not outsource, so everyone is local here in the same building. All right, and part of why we offer that is our CEO and founder is a realtor. That is what he did. He was a very successful one in the Sacramento area. He was closing over 300 homes per year on his own. And then when he has his own brokerage, it was over 1,500 per year. So he was bogged down in administrative, paperwork, and that's not why he went into real estate. And none of the solutions that were in the market he liked. And that is where SkySlope came from. It is his brainchild. So we are basically taking all the moving pieces that you use and consolidating them in one place, making your life streamlined and easy as an agent, and also being compliant so that the broker is happy on their end as well. So it's the all-in-one solution for everybody. With that, any new technology has lots of bells and whistles that come with it. You don't necessarily need to know all of those on day one. I know when the smartphones came out, sometimes it was hard to even make a phone call. There's a funny scene in Sex and the City where, if anyone remembers that movie, the movie, not the show, where someone hands her an iPhone and she just looks and she goes, I don't know how to use this. So I kind of approach the training in that same way of, no one can live without their iPhone or smartphone nowadays, but when you first got them, it was just a flat screen with no buttons. And so on day one, you might have been slow to figure out exactly how to make that phone call or send that text. But now you can't imagine life without it. We kind of approach the training in the same way. There's lots of bells and whistles, and I'm going to show those to you, but we're going to highlight the main things you need to know on day one to create a file and get your job done. And those are, how do you enter in your property data, and how do you turn in your documents to the conveyancers? So those are what we're going to focus on today, and then I'll also show you bells and whistles. But remember, these are all you need to know. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go into my demo account here. Yours is branded to Sutton, so it's red, and it has the Sutton logo up here in the upper right. Couple things about the dashboard. The logo is your home button. This will always bring you back to this main screen no matter where you are, okay? So logo is home. The other thing I want to point out over here by your name is this little lady with the headset. That is your shortcut to support. If you click that, it opens up a support page, and all you have to do is click that big blue button to start a chat or an email. When you get your login credentials, I believe you get yours on Monday morning at 8 a.m. You will also have the phone number for our support team as well. So you can easily save that in your contacts so that it's readily available to you. We also have a knowledge base here. You can search by keyword. There's also this tutorial area if you just want to go see what our options are. But you can see there's categories here, new and notable, new releases, but also there's just property files, how to do specific things in the platform. Everything I review today is also here, but in smaller doses. So you can see like a 1-minute video or a 2-minute video, or you can just skip to the instructions that have animated imagery. You don't even really need to read, just watch the little images and it shows you exactly what to do. Or you can just, again, skip right to that chat or call button. There is a banner here at the top. I know I mentioned we're 24/7, 365. There is one day a year that we have an Employee Appreciation Day, and that is this Friday. So you actually won't have access, so it's probably not going to affect you, but just to let you know, we have one day where we all get together so that no one is back in the office having to work, and that is Friday. But again, because we have different holidays than the Canadian calendar, this is very useful to you, since if we're on 4th of July and you guys are working, you will absolutely have someone to answer your questions. So it's very nice to have that 24/7 support. Okay, I'm going to go back to the main dashboard here. Again, that was right there, little support lady. Okay, so what I want to point out here is there's 2 different areas within the platform to live in. These 2 areas here. There's create and manage listings right at the top. Then there's also create and manage transactions. Everything within SkySlope is either a listing or a transaction. Listings are exactly that, a new listing you have representing the seller. Transactions are everything in contract. So if you have a listing that is sold, it will be converted to a transaction at some point. If you are representing the buyer, you will create a transaction straight away. We are going to focus on transactions for you today. I know that is how Sutton wants to approach this. You are going to concentrate on transactions first within the system. So we're going to walk through creating a transaction. So you have a very nice little shortcut here right there. I'm going to go ahead and click Create Transaction. And I'm going to enter in my property that I have, search that, search that, choose it from my list. And it populates as much as it can. The main thing you need to know here is you fill out the red asterisks. Anything required, that's what you fill out. Yours might be a little different configured. I'm in my demo account and there's a few options for what's required, but just fill out everything that's required. One thing I want to point out is this checklist type. This is the type of property that you have. Yours will be different because they are custom for every account that we have. These are your checklists. What documents will be required based on what you choose here? So obviously a lot and land might have different paperwork than a residential sale. So I'm going to go ahead and choose residential transaction for mine, but just keep in mind, choose the right property type. Those are the required documents you will need to upload. The other thing here is type. If you have a listing sold, it should automatically default to a listing sold. If you are representing the buyer, you would just choose sale. If you are representing both sides, you would choose both listing and sale. So then I just need to plug in the rest of my data here that's required. And let's see, at the bottom, I need my closing date. Let's say it's the 2nd, and my acceptance date was today. So as soon as you just fill in the information, you hit next. And what it does is it just keeps moving you along the process. We just filled out everything under transaction. Now we're in the contact section. As you keep moving, it'll bring you to the checklist. That's where we want to get. So you just keep going next. It's step by step. So we're going to enter in our seller. As you enter in contacts the first time, you won't be able to search because you haven't entered anybody yet. But as you enter people and save them, they will be entered into your digital directory and you'll be able to search like I just did. So you build your own personal directory as you go. So I entered in my seller. I'm going to hit next. Moves me to the purchaser. Let's say that is Oprah. And save that. And then hit next and go to my title escrow attorney. Please forgive us. This is an Americanized platform. It is not Canadianized yet. So there's a few things you're going to have to get used to just for the time being. One of those is the word escrow. It's everywhere. I apologize. And also title and escrow. I know you deal with lawyers only. We name them attorneys in here. That will change for you soon, but you will need to scroll down to the bottom section because that is where the attorney is located. So just remember that. Again, bear with us while we Canadianize our platform for you. We're a little slow, but if you enter in the lawyer information, you can go ahead and save that, come back up and hit next. And then I just need the agent on the other side. And I'm done with all my contacts. You can enter additional ones if you need to. There's miscellaneous, home warranty, lender, etc. But then I just submit those and it's going to move me to the next tab. So I'm out of contacts and now I'm in commission. Just fill in the bare minimum information there as well and submit that. You will not see this pop up. I apologize. That is configured for my account only. But it brings you to the checklist. You'll notice the other tabs show up now that you're on the checklist. So now you have a full and complete file. That was all the data you needed to enter. That was step one. That was entering in your property data. So basically just create transaction and follow through. Next step, next step, next step. So now we're on how do you turn in your documents. There's two tabs at the top here I wanted to point out. There's checklist and documents. This documents area acts as like your filing cabinet. So whether or not you were sending all these emails to a conveyancer in the office, or if you were, gathering them in a manila folder and physically taking them into the office, this would be the equivalent of that. This is where you gather all of the documents, no matter what you need to turn in. Everything related to that property is in your documents area. The checklist is where you turn them into your conveyancer. This is that piece that notifies them that you've turned it in. The documents area is, again, just a filing cabinet. Your office is not notified when things are there. They are notified when you attach them to your checklist. So this was that property type we chose. I chose that residential transaction. If I had chosen something else, I would have different documents required here. So for me, let's go ahead and get our purchase contract and preliminary title into the system. You can just attach and upload directly one by one from your desktop. That's an option. You can also drag and drop as well into the documents area. I'll show you that in a second. But the best one I like is this email address. Every time you create any property in the system, a listing or a transaction, doesn't matter, we will generate this unique email address. It's not something that you set, it's the system. We set it automatically. And that's usually because this is a SkySlope email. So if this property was sold previously by a different SkySlope customer or another agent in your brokerage, and it was this exact same address, it will never have the same email address. It's impossible to have a dupe here. It would add another character at the end. So every time you create any file for a property, you will always have a unique email address. And what this email does is anything sent to this email will be added to this file. So if it's an attachment that someone sent you, or if you're scanning a big stack of papers into your scanner and you can enter in an email address, you can just enter in this email address and it will unload everything to the documents area. So I'm going to copy this and demonstrate exactly how that works. So I copied my email address and I'm going to go over to my Gmail. And I have an email from my client. There he is. And there's his attachment. All I need to do, I could download this and upload it. That's, very easy to do. And you can do that if you want to, or you can just forward it and paste in that email address. Once I hit send, this will unload into that file that I just created. So let's go back to that. Go to my documents area here. Refresh, might take a second. And there it is. So I just emailed it in. It unattached the attachment I had in the email and puts it in my documents area. So now all I need to do, remember I told you this is a filing cabinet. This does not notify the conveyancer that you've done your due diligence here. You still need to attach this to the checklist. I had 2 items on my checklist and this is one PDF. So we have a tool here for you to split this out into multiple documents. So let me demonstrate that. The split brings up a preview of the PDF, and if it's too small, which that is, you can zoom in. Oops. And we can see this is my purchase agreement on page 1. So over here where it says new document name, just start typing it out. Anything in your checklist that has those letters will show up. So I can choose, this is my required item. That's what I want to choose. Now I just need to set the pages. I think this is 3 pages. Yep, 1 to 3. Because my preliminary title report is on the next one. So there it is. The if applicable items show up as well, but that's the one I want, preliminary title. Not necessarily something that would come from the agent, but this is for demo purposes. All right, so that's the rest of this is all title. So I'm just going to leave that 4 to 19. You can add rows if you have multiple documents here and you run out of room. Keep adding rows. You can always come back to this as well. This purchase packet that you originally sent in isn't going anywhere. You can always come back and resplit it, or if you messed up, you can resplit it in the future. Nothing's deleted out of the system, so you can easily come back to it. But now I'm going to hit this split and assign button, and it automatically assigns it to my checklist and gives me a nice little pat on the back saying I did a good job. So if I go to the checklist here with that button, these changed from red to yellow in review. That was step 2, how to turn in documents. Because now my conveyancer has been notified that I've uploaded my documents. I don't have to call the office or email them separately. This is it. You don't have to physically go to the office as well. This is all you have to do is attach those to the checklist and they know it's there. I'm going to stop really quick and unmute everybody, see if there's any questions so far, because that was the basics of what you need to know in the system.
Are there any questions? No? No, everyone's good.
Okay, I'm going to keep going here. So now that they have those in there, how do you know that there's nothing missing or your conveyancer has approved it or anything like that? What they're going to do is they have a way to send you a custom email from the system that looks like this. Let me go back to my email here. You'll get something that looks like this. It says SkySlope checklist reviewed in the subject, and it will have the address so you know exactly which property they're talking about. And it gives you this color-coded snapshot of the checklist. And so you can see just by looking at this, the green, good to go. Those have been approved. The red, maybe there was something that was newly marked as required. So this like lead paint disclosure, because as soon as they saw it, they recognized the year and they know, oh, lead paint's required on this particular property, or whatever the circumstances may be. The purple one up here, so this listing agreement, you're like, oh, why is this not green? It's purple and it says incomplete. Maybe something's wrong with it. They'll put the comments here of exactly what's wrong. This last page not signed. Must have missed a signature there. Or maybe the scanner skipped a page and you're missing page 6. Whatever the reason, they will put that in the comments and let you know exactly what's wrong with that file. So this kind of gives you your to-do. If it's all green, you're good until you're in contract or until you have the next piece of documentation during closing. So this is the back and forth you'll get from them. You can also write comments as well. So this comment box is where they will put that information. So this purchase contract, I will say, will have new SIG by end of week. Save. So you can put comments back and forth to them as well. And if you have that little caret, you can extend it and see the back and forth communication that you've had on that particular document. So it kind of like replaces maybe sticky notes you used to put on a file or something like that. But that is that back and forth communication you'll have with the conveyancer. So let me go to the documents area here. I wanted to show you, again, now I'm showing you bells and whistles at this point. That's the communication of how they'll talk to you. But right now I wanted to show you a couple of the tricks you can do in here just to make your life easier using SkySlope. And one of those is in the documents area. So remember, you might have lots of documents in here. Say your client or a lawyer asks for particular documents and there's way too many attachments and it's really hard to send because it's going to fail because the file size is too big. That's one scenario where we can use this option called Share Docs. Another scenario is you just want to prove that someone's looked at something. Share Docs is a way for you to share documents that are in here and you can see what the other person is actually viewing. So let me show you how this works. If I select all of the documents that are in here, and those are the same. So let's just choose those two separately. And then I click the Share Docs button. It lets me name the bundle. You can create as many of these as you want. So I can say Docs for Lawyer. You can have closing documents for your client, whatever you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and create this. And it creates this unique URL. You can go ahead and copy the link. And then if you send that in an email, obviously you're not going to have file size limitations or anything like that. But when they click on it on their end, it looks something like this. And I'm opening a separate browser because I'm logged into SkySlope in my browser and I want you to see exactly what they will see. And they'll be prompted with something like this. They'll have to enter their name. So I can say, my name is Lindsay. Whoops, not spelling right, but it doesn't really matter. That matters. Okay, they enter their information and they click View Documents and they get to this screen. All of the property details will be on the left here, and including the agent's contact information, and then it lists all the documents you included. All they have to do is click on this and it opens that PDF in a new window, and it can be any file. It doesn't have to be a PDF. It can be, say, a Word doc, Excel file. It will just download directly to your desktop. But as you click on these, the reason I'm clicking on them is I want to show how we prove that someone has looked at these. But that is how you can share documents out It's a very nice little feature. I'm going to close this. You can manage your bundles here. There's a separate tab under Documents for shared bundles. So you can create as many as you'd like. You can deactivate them at any time or recopy the link if needed. In the log, though, so the log is where, this is where the broker loves SkySlope. It tracks everything you've been doing and everything in here, including that document bundle. Here you go. Here's the information I entered as the recipient. You can see there's my name, email, and phone, and the exact documents that I viewed. So I viewed preliminary title at 12:17 p.m. on the 31st. So if you have a lawyer saying, you know, you never sent that to me, I didn't get it, you can kind of say, actually, you did get it and you viewed it at this exact time. So you can kind of, you know, audit people as well. If there's anything you need to enter, like say there's a really important phone conversation, you can go ahead and enter a note here and enter and it will show up in the comments. All of this is searchable as well. You can search by keywords, date ranges, and also the type of it that it is. These are doc bundle. There's also checklist note that I added. If I scroll down here in the log, you can see there's the contacts I added. Here's the email I sent in as well. So if you click on that email received link, you can also see the exact format of that original email, included in the attachment that was there. So because the emails get tracked, so anything sent to that property-specific email address up at the top, this one, all of those will be tracked in your log. So you can easily keep email communication between your client, other agents, the lawyers. You can keep all of that here. Even if you don't do it with every single email that comes in, you can forward in a big chain of communication as well at the end or during, and that will show up here as well. This can also track text messages. If you create like a group chat or something like that, you can enter in this email address instead of a mobile phone number, and all text communication will be captured here as well. If you notice, though, there is no delete button. So if you have a client that is a friend and you get kind of friendly on the chat, it will show up here in the log, so just be warned. All right. Okay, so the last two tabs here, there's an area for tasks. You can create tasks if you'd like. These can be synced to your calendar. These are non-document specific things like, you know, putting up a sign, scheduling a photographer, things like that. There's templates that can be created for this, or you can add them one by one. Again, they can be synced to your calendar, either Google, iCal, or Outlook, and you can also set notifications to yourself as well. This is one of those bells and whistle things. We have more specific tutorials about this on our support page as well. But you can absolutely use these if that's something that you'd like to do. All right, I'm going to go back to my main dashboard here. So that was how we created a transaction right there. Now, if you have more than one transaction going on, you can access all of them under your Manage Transactions area right there. So it shows everything that I have open right now. There's a button right here, or a little icon. This is how you cancel a transaction. So if for any reason it falls out and the deal is not going to go through, you can go ahead and cancel this and just go ahead and submit the reason. You know, loan fell through, whatever it may be, and then go ahead and submit that for approval. It does need to be approved by a conveyancer, and it will sit in this canceled transactions pending approval area until it has been approved. There might be additional paperwork that you'd have to upload to the checklist. If the file has been closed by the conveyancer, but there's something missing, so they can't archive it for storage yet, it will sit in this closed transactions to be archived section. So this is a very high priority area to pay attention to because they can't archive it until that is uploaded. Hopefully it is not 21 items like my sample here, and it's more like 1 or 2. But this area is kind of that area. If you have anything here, make sure you get that uploaded so that it can go to the archive. Another thing special for Sutton is you will notice when you log in, you'll see these files that look like this. They'll say dot, and then usually your first initial and last name, and then it'll say either representation, remuneration, I think conflict, offers, and risk. These are kind of your holding areas for all those new disclosures that are specific for Canada. So Because your office needs to have access to those at all times, we have these holding areas for you. So if I open this file, these files aren't going to go anywhere. They're just going to be in here like a big filing cabinet for you. So something that's not associated with a particular property address, this is where you would put it so that your conveyancers have access to it as well. The reason it is named this way specifically is, this way specifically in the address is so that your email address here is in this exact format. It's going to say the category of disclosure that it is. So this one's representation, and then it's going to be, dot first name, last name. It's specific to your to you. Because there was a lot of duplicates, sometimes it could be last name, first name, something like that, so just pay attention. But this will not change. You can keep this in your contacts and forward in those kind of disclosures and those sort of things, and they will show up in that documents area, just like I demonstrated with my Jimmy Fallon email. Anything sent to this email will detach and put in your documents. And so this is like that big holding area for all of those new disclosures. I'm going to unmute, see if there's any questions about that, because I know that's an important one.
Yes.
The email addresses we're using now, when do we switch to the new ones?
On the 7th.
Like of September?
No, of August, yeah.
So immediately. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have another question for you.
Yes.
I apologize if you went through it already. So if, so for example, you start a file, a transaction for a listing, and then an offer comes in, is that a new file, or can we now keep everything under the same client?
It would all be kept under the same client.
Okay, and does this eliminate having to do transaction sheets?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are these emails private to us, or are they open to someone
No.
else?
They're, the emails that are generated are private to the agent. It generates personalized email addresses.
But what about the files? Will these files be accessed by?
Only by conveyance.
So this isn't replacing our personal email addresses. It's
No.
just giving us an additional email so we can funnel everything to go to.
Exactly. That's correct. Yeah.
Sorry, I have one more question about that link that can be shared.
Yes.
Is it going to be advisable to be using this instead of doing like Dropbox links for starter documents and things like that? Sharing files with.
Which link are you referring to?
Sending documents.
Oh.
Yeah, like
Sharing.
Can we, like, if someone wants, before they make an offer, they want to see all the strata docs and everything, is this going to be now a great place for, do we want to share
Yeah,
that
I would
information?
recommend that you keep everything in here just to be as compliant as possible.
Then how many people, like, does it matter? Is there going to be a limit of how many people then can access it? Like, if there's like 4 or 5 different people that want strata docs,
Right.
Just
is
send
that
them the
going to be
link.
Just the
Or-
link.
Send the
Yeah.
link to the-
Sometimes what we do is copy and paste the link into our realtor remarks, and then anyone can just click on that or download that to access it. Or is that
Right.
something that we'd be able to do with your documents?
Yeah, to
I'm not-
elaborate on that, if you have a shared docs link created, I don't have one here, the link that you create can be shared. So like in the Bay Area in California, people put it on the MLS and put all the disclosures there so that any agent on the other side can access it. And like I showed you in that link, you can see exactly who is clicking on it because they have to enter their information in order to see that, to see those files.
We do the same.
Does that help?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Are there any other
They never
questions?
get to do it,
I think we can move on.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and mute again. All right, so those files for you are located in the transactions. So when you need to upload those disclosures, you can either forward them in via email or just upload them directly via the managed transaction area. So the other icons here, we're just going to kind of go around the circle. The incomplete checklist area is an area you can go to see any file that you have in the system that is still requiring attention from you, meaning there might be missing required documents that still need to be uploaded to the checklist, or maybe areas where things have been marked incomplete, yet they have not been approved yet, or you haven't uploaded the new documents yet. So that is where you can go here to see kind of your to-do area. Anything that has been canceled and approved will live in this canceled contract storage area. So that holding area is there until it's approved by a conveyancer, and then this is where you can go search old canceled contracts. And you can still access them and open them as well. The archive is where all your closed final transactions go. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. You have access to only your own files, so you'll only see all your closed transactions here. You can still open them like you did before. You can still create shared bundles if you'd like in the documents area. That is still available to you. You cannot change existing information in here. You can try, but you'll notice there is no save button down here. One thing you can do as well is download. So you do have the option to download all documents or just the items attached to the checklist. Both of these options will give you a downloaded zip file. You'll notice that it is a one-by-one download. There is no download all button on this page. So if this is something that you want to do on a regular basis, I would say get in the habit to do that now. You can search by client name or address if you need to, or you can just scroll through the pages here. You can't, there's a couple sort options as well if you wanted to sort either ascending or descending by any one of these options. So back to the main dashboard here, clicking my logo. That was the archives. There's also tasks and reminders. I did show you that tab on any property file that has tasks. If that's something you'd like to utilize, this is where you can go to create templates that you can import on a regular basis or also sync to your calendar here as well. I'm going to go through these last two items, the working documents and the digital signature. So working documents, you have two folders here. One is called personal docs, and it is exactly that. You are the only person that has access to it. Conveyance does not. And this is where you can use it for whatever you'd like. There is unlimited storage here. So if anyone is using Google Docs or Dropbox or something like that, and you've hit a limit where you have to upgrade in order to add more, this can be an alternative for you. You can create your own folder structure here. One way I usually do this is I have a folder named after my clients, and I will, let's see, Oprah has, I'll keep an offer here until it's accepted and I'm in contract. You might have, you can keep these here, but for you, you'd also need to email a copy of that offer into that offer disclosure transaction so that conveyance also has access to it. Personal docs, again, no one has access to this but you. The office docs area is where Sutton can share out a library of their own forms that might not be in web forms. So I know there's things already in there. This is, you can access this as you need. If you can select and assign them to any of your property files that you've already created in SkySlope, or you can send them out via our digital signature tool, which I'll be going over in just a second. If you click on them directly, they just open up in their own window. You can download, save, personalize, whatever you need to do. So again, that's Office Docs. I'm sorry, you will not see the zip form. That is specifically for me in my California office. But that is the working documents area right there. So lastly, I was going to go through the digital signature tool. We have our own proprietary e-signature tool called DigiSign. It is, you'll notice that button was a couple places. It was in the personal and Office Docs under here. And it's in every documents tab for every property file in the system as well. So you can access it pretty much anywhere. But I'm going to go ahead and walk you through sending out an envelope for digital signature. So if I open on the main icon, this is where you can go to see anything you've previously sent and are still waiting for signatures, or anything you've completed, drafts. You can create templates as well. But I'm just going to walk us through creating one from scratch. Immediately, the option is going to let me either choose no property or one of the properties that I have. So no property means, I just want to send this out. It's not attached to any particular file yet. Anything that comes back signed when you choose this option will go to your personal documents area as a holding area, and you can assign it out later when ready. I can search the property that I just created. There it is. So I'm going to choose this one. Anything signed when you choose the property goes directly into the documents area when it's done. So it's always a good option. If you have the file, choose the property. Okay, it automatically pulls up any documents I already have there. So let's go ahead and send out the purchase contract because I'm missing a signature there. Again, you can apply a template as an option. We do have tutorials specifically on how to create these and use these, and feel free to access our support page to go through those. But for our purposes, I'm just going to walk through creating without a template. All of my contacts that I have in this file show up as an option. So I can choose every single one of these if I want and have everybody be an option here, and they'll all just go to who signs first in the same bundle. If you have everyone bundled together, they all get a separate copy at the same time, and that's fine. At the end, they will get a subsequent copy of the final one with everyone's signature. But if you want to split this out, you can add signer groups as well. Say I want my seller to sign first, and I want my attorney to get a copy, and I want Oprah to sign second. So you can set the order of events here. Jimmy will sign first. Oprah will get her copy only when he's finished, and then Eric will get a copy when everyone's done. For our purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and get one signature here. If you need to add new recipients, you absolutely can, or edit the emails, you can do that as well. If you have people sharing an email address, you can enter them as separate contacts here with the same email. And they will get their own email with their name in the subject line. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and it brings us to the editor for DigiSign. All of the functional buttons are up here in the top. You just highlight the one you want. So I'm going to go ahead and get initials. Let's scroll down to the bottom of the first page. Let's just say I get initials right here. And then if I go to the bottom of the last page, I'm going to hit page 3 over here. It scrolls to page 3 automatically. Let's get a signature here. And also a date sign box. It is one click, it's not drag and drop. So as soon as I have this highlighted, if you just click around the page, it starts adding that box. And you can choose the drop down of who's signing what in which box if you have more than one signer. And that's it. You have a couple different options up here. As you can see, there's a checkbox, a full name that pre-populates their name, a read-only if you want to enter something that they can't change, and a writable field if you want them to fill something out. So I'm going to go ahead and send this off. It populates with the subject of my, it adds the address in the subject. You can change that if you'd like. You can also add a message. And then go ahead and send that out. So let me show you what this looks like on the client side. So I just sent that to Jimmy Fallon. We're going to go ahead and check Jimmy's email and see what it looks like. So here's me. There's my email. I'm the agent. I just sent him that. There's his name in the subject line and the property that we're sending it on. So yours will have the Sutton logo here, not SkySlope. I am in my demo account, so it's branded to me. And there's my message. So I just go ahead and click review and sign. There is nothing for the recipient to do. They don't have to create an account, because I know some e-signature tools you have to create your account with a login and password. They don't have to do that. They don't have to download anything. All they have to do is approve their name, initials, choose a signature style, and then agree that it's a binding contract. And then they're in. All they have to do is hit start and just click off where they're supposed to sign. You can scroll at will and go back. The start just gets you to where you need to go. They can return if needed or just hit submit. They automatically have the option to download this right away. They'll also get that follow-up email if there's multiple signers so that they can download the final version with everyone's signature on it. So let me show you what this looks like. So now we have a final signed document. And because I chose that property, I'm going to go ahead and open that property. But I wanted to show you this search bar up here. So the little magnifying glass, you can search by the address or your client or different agents involved if you have multiple agents on the file. But for me, I'm just going to go ahead and search my address here and open that up. So I go to the documents area because that's where it will go. It's my filing cabinet. Anything you send out from DigiSign will have DigiSign attached to the end of the name of the file. So this is purchase contract DigiSign. There it is. So remember I said everything in your documents area does not flag conveyance that you've uploaded it. So conveyance still doesn't know that this is here. I have to attach that to the checklist. So if I go back to the checklist here, here's that purchase contract that's, now I have my signature. It's the end of the week, I got my signature. So a couple things you can do here. You can just attach the new document. You can attach more than one document to the same line item in the checklist. So if you only got one page and you just need to add it, go ahead and do that. If you want to clean this up, you can. There's a remove document here. So don't worry, you're not deleting anything. You cannot delete anything, even if you tried. That's part of the compliance portion of SkySlope. You really can't move anything out of here. Even if you sent in the wrong documents, you can move them to a trash folder, but they're still attached to this file. There's no deleting. So what you can do here when you remove a document, it's just unattaching it from the checklist. It still exists in your documents area. So I'm just going to attach my new one, just so I have a clean copy here. So I just want the DigiSign version, assign that, and now it's back in review. So now I have this back ready for my conveyance to take a look at it, and I don't have to notify them because remember, as soon as I attach it to the checklist, that's me turning it in. One more thing I wanted to mention here, because I did say, you know, if there's other agents on this file, you can search by them here. On the first tab of any file, say you work on a team or something like that, you can give access of your file to other people by adding them as a co-agent. And all you can do is just add and type in the person in your company. They should show up if they have a login, and then you can choose their name right there. As soon as you save them, they now have access to this file just like you would. You're granting full access to the file, but that is how you would allow someone else to have access. Okay, I'm going to go back to the main dashboard now. I've gone through all of the icons here. The create listing and manage listings works very similar to what we just showed with a transaction. There's a wizard attached though, so it's actually kind of faster, but we're focusing on the transaction side for Sutton first. The other thing I wanted to point out is under your name, there's a My Account link. This is where you can go to change your password and those types of personal settings for your account. I'm going to go ahead and unmute and see if there's any questions. Feel free to use that chat as well. If you don't feel like speaking up, I'd be happy to answer anyone's questions.
Yes.
When you assigned co-agent, did that person have full read-write capability on all the documents you shared?
They can send things out that are in the file for DigiSign from their own digital signature account, and they can add anything they'd want to it as well, yes. So if they wanted to add a read-only field to a document that you have in the file and send it out, they can.
And to get documents there, we're going to have to download them. We're not going to have a direct link from our web forms, is that right?
Web forms will be eventually integrated, but for the moment, we just have uploaded those forms.
Okay, but when we're in our web forms, do we have to download the kit, like download all the forms, or everything's available through here?
You can most likely email them in if you're in web forms. If you have an email option, you can use that email.
Okay, and do we have the option to mark things up here, or do they have to be completely, like, are they editable once they get here, or?
They are not editable within the system.
Yeah, but if you open them in a new tab, it's a PDF still, so you can edit.
Right, so if you're in the documents area, yours will be available in Office Docs here. You'd have to open it in a new tab. You can make your edits here, and then you'd have to save a version of it and download.
Okay, so sorry, what program do we need for that then? Is it like an Adobe?
You don't, it's already integrated in your browser. Yeah.
So for this, like for the signing portion of it, are we able to do strike through, like same functionality that AuthentiSign has? Like, do we need to type in anything or change number, like do anything like that? Is that all within the signing?
There's like a text box option, and you can just do dash, a dash across. There's no legitimate like cross out function, but the dash works just as well. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
The dash can only go like
straight. Yeah.
Or you can use diagonal,
Like
right?
it's a whole paragraph we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
But you can use diagonal as same as the keyboard, right?
Yeah, but it would. Yeah.
You guys still there? Sorry, I lost audio for the room. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, there you are.
Oh, hi. So one of the agents is asking if there will ever be like a cross out function in DigiSign.
It has been a feature request to have strike through. There's quite a few things that have been asked of DigiSign. I am not sure what the plan is for enhancement on that particular feature. It has been requested though, and I will add your name to that because the bigger brokerage that asks for it, the more priority it is put on it. So I will absolutely put that as a request for your account.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? No. Okay. No more questions.
Okay. Well, remember, you will be getting your login and passwords, your welcome email to set your password on Monday morning at 8 a.m. If you forget everything I told you today, please remember we do have that support option right there at the top. So you can chat, call, email them. They are very responsive. Again, that is right there. So just remember that's always there for you.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay, for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. I'm very excited for you to get in the platform, and welcome to SkySlope.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Like, I don't want there.